Well, friends, we're here. Episode 0 of the Square Dev Podcast. My name is Adams Stacoviak, and I run Changelog, and I'm here with Richard Moot, head of Dev Rel for Square. Richard, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad that you decided to help us out here and getting us like episode 0 of the Square Developer Podcast, getting everybody introduced to what it is that we're trying to do here.
Yeah, I love the platform. I love working with you guys. Amazing team, big fan, many years, big fan. So, and I'm even excited about the podcast, believe it or not. And behind the scenes, we're helping you produce it, helping you with some of the editorial processes, and just making an amazing podcast, which is really hard, as you may know, Richard. It's not easy to deliver a world-class podcast, but here we are. We're doing it.
Well, I mean, when we thought that we wanted to do a podcast, there's nobody else that we wanted to partner with. I mean,
I appreciate that.
You convinced us, in all the years that we've been chatting with you, listening to the podcast, definitely inspired to be able to come here and work with you. And then, ultimately tell the stories that we want to be able to tell to get developers excited about our platform, understand what's possible, and really just showcase all the different use cases that people can have when it comes to Square and everything that makes it great to build on this platform.
Yeah, I think even in episode 0, it should be more common for new podcasts, because I feel like if you just start launching shows, somewhere in there you have to explain who you are, what you do, why you care, what they can expect. There's some sort of promise that a podcast delivers. And that's my hope today was just to sit down with you and talk through, what is this podcast going to be about? Who will you feature? Where will it live on the internet? Do you even know these questions yet? I know as you begin something new, that there's things that you iterate towards. You don't always have all the details figured out. So what can we answer about who you'll feature and what this podcast will be about?
I really want people to understand why they want to listen to this podcast, what they're going to be tuning into. We're really going to showcase some of our largest developers, some of our smaller developers. We have one person who actually won one of our hackathons, Ben Lee, who builds the Operator app. It's a very interesting use case, allows SMS texting from landlines. It's something that has become more common, but I don't think we all really think about all too much. And the interesting ways that this can make a business run better, especially if you're a solo business owner and the phone's ringing, but you're working with a client. They have ways of solving how to get business retention and get in touch with folks. And then we also talked to a different hackathon, one of ours, Payable, with Ryan May. And they have a really interesting use case of integrating with Google Cloud and Google Business Suite and allowing you to just take a payment from a Google form. It's so simple, but so useful and powerful, because a lot of people use Google Suite for small businesses for doing their email and all that management. Sometimes they're just hey, I want to be able to collect some info at an event and then have them pay for it right then and there. And it all started from really small things where you just had a group event where everybody was supposed to pay $20 for a t-shirt and they had to fill out a form. And you just thought, why can't we just take the payment at the end of the form? Why do we have to gather all this info and then later go, hey, did you get the $20 from each person? So it's just really simple things sometimes can be really powerful and unlock entire businesses.
So developer stories, of course, is always fun. Will you be featuring some of the inside of the developer podcast at Square, like the API, the GraphQL stuff you're doing, a lot of the innovation you're doing to enable merchants to be faster, better, stronger, all the things?
Yeah, you're totally right. So we ended up also having the folks from Apollo GraphQL join us for the podcast and talk to one of the engineers that actually built our internal GraphQL endpoints that ultimately enabled us to publish the public version of the Square GraphQL endpoints. And just really trying to talk about all the different things that we've leveraged of federated schemas. And we even start talking about the future of GraphQL as they're trying to solidify new standards and really trying to build a whole new community around this to kind of get GraphQL to the same level of REST in terms of design standards.
When it comes to the developers that should listen to this podcast, I know that I kind of have an idea who that might be, but do you expect the audience to be mostly Square aware, or do you expect to attract a new style developer that might be wow, I can do this with the Square Developer Platform, and I had no idea that I could be an app partner or publish something to the marketplace, or all the places that you enable merchants and developers to sort of intermingle and make these amazing things happen?
Yeah, I mean, the kind of developer that I imagine is not necessarily one that has to be familiar with Square. I'm really hoping that through the different conversations and people that we feature on the podcast, that we can like draw curiosity from anybody who might not have even considered using Square. They might be building their own little side app, have their little side hustle, and then they go, oh, I didn't realize that, I can actually integrate like a Square terminal device. And then, we have a whole episode where we're talking with these folks who help build out the integrations for Shake Shack and Chase Center using our terminal devices. And it's the same exact thing that you could, go buy in a store and connect to a terminal API and then be building like your own kiosk app if you wanted. And beyond that, we also want to showcase some of even our new open source projects, like our new AI agent Goose, which helps you in your development process. So we really kind of want to reach a broad audience to just have some interesting things. We hope that you'll learn a little bit about the Square Developer Platform and what's possible along the way.
Well, friends, the show is out there, ready for you to listen to, subscribe, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Enjoy.